Hey guys, it's been a while. I wanted to just upload a video and do something really quick, and maybe people watch it, and if people watch it and they like it, maybe we'll get back to making some more videos again. I've had a really rough, difficult, strange past 4 years, and if I make some more videos, maybe we can talk about that. But for now, the video that inspired me to talk was Lindsay Ellis on the death of the author, at which I'll post a link in the description. And she gives a summary of Roland Barthes' Death of the Author and Foucault's interpretation and in some ways radicalization of that. And then goes on to discuss like the political implications, right? Does it matter, and to what extent does it matter that that people, the race, the gender, the all of these political sort of underlying political implications. Can we square, for instance, the author did this terrible thing with the concept of the death of the author, right? Can we square those two concepts? And she does. A lot of her video, I think, is perfectly fine. I actually think she summarizes Barthes pretty well. But when she gets to Foucault, that's where I start to have issues because I think she misunderstands. And I don't know why. I don't know her background. Maybe she's a literature person, and she focuses on that. And maybe she hasn't really spent a lot of time with his overarching project. But she does say, she basically puts it in such a way that it's as if Foucault doesn't care about paratext. Paratext is things outside the text, right? And things like comments that an author made after the fact, right? If you know anything about Foucault's life, he was constantly giving interviews, right? Obviously, he thinks that there's a relationship between the text of an interview and the text of a book. What I think is radical about Foucault is not the statement that paratext, that outside of the text, J.K. Rowling saying Dumbledore is gay where the books don't, right? The point that Foucault is making is that in Harry Potter, the point that Foucault is not making, sorry, I'm explaining this backwards. Foucault is not saying that Dumbledore is not gay. That's what I want to say. I think that Foucault is much more radical than that because I think that he holds, yes, the author is dead, and yes, the work kills the author, to use this dramatic language that he loves to use. And Lindsay points out that yes, but personal brand supervenes on the text, right? J.K. Rowling said Dumbledore is gay, so now we have to deal with that. We can't jettison that. Which I think she is basically right about, except that I think her misinterpretation of Foucault is that I think Foucault would say that personal brand is in itself a text that kills the author, right? So I think that Lindsay Ellis's her theoretical the problem with her argument about Foucault is that I think that she identifies the public representation of an author with the author, right? And I think that that's an extremely non-Foucaultian move. And I think it's not a suitable basis to critique Foucault on. One step further, Foucault in The Archaeology of Knowledge, which again, if Lindsay Ellis is a literature person, she might not be aware of the archaeology of knowledge, right? It just might not be a text that she's all too familiar with. But maybe she has read it. I don't know. I don't mean to sound, it's possible that could come off sounding condescending, and I don't mean to. But right in the beginning of that book, he goes off on a whole long discourse, a whole long thing about how a book is not bound by its covers, right? How the text of a book always sits as like a node within a matrix of discourses that cannot be reduced to just this, 200-page thing, 400-page thing, whatever. Oh, I have food that's about to be done. It cannot be reduced to that stack of pages for Foucault, I think. So the idea that the Harry Potter text is limited to the 7 books is also non-Foucaultian. So Derrida and Foucault weren't friends, but I think that Foucault would have agreed with Derrida when Derrida said, there is nothing outside the text. Now, a lot of people have misinterpreted Derrida to think that he means, when he says there's nothing outside the text, to think that he means something like J.K. Rowling saying Dumbledore is gay is, Dumbledore's sexuality is not addressed in the text, therefore her say means nothing at all. Like the text exists in a strict vacuum. And I don't think that's Derrida's point. He ends up clarifying later. He means something more radical, I think, which is that all of J.K. Rowling's statements about Harry Potter are not paratext. They're part of the text. Anything that you would point to as being outside of the text is actually a part of the text. That's Derrida's point. And I think that's Foucault's point as well. I think that's how he looks at it. He's not really interested in a stack of papers that's bound between 2 covers. He's much more interested in where it sits within a discourse. And part of that discourse is paratext and all of these things. So these are the 2 moves that Lindsay Ellis makes that I think that she basically gets wrong. One, and this is, probably a very esoteric point that nobody's interested in. But the 2 things that she gets wrong is that, one, she identifies personal brand with the author. And I don't think that that's a Foucaultian move. I don't think that's a legitimate basis for critique. And 2, I think that when Foucault talks about the death of the author or the work killing the author, etc., I don't think he thinks of the work as being bound between 2 covers, or I don't think he thinks of the text or the discourse or the book. I don't think he thinks of Harry Potter as a stack of 7 books. I think he thinks of it as all of this discourse, all of the fan theories, all of the fan fiction, all the whole fandom, plus everything J.K. Rowling said, plus all the, like, there's this huge, plus again, that sits within a history of magic and writing about magic, the Once and Future King, for instance, and Gandalf is in that history, and we can describe a whole history of the wizard within which Harry Potter sits, within which all of that paratext sits, and it informs and actually is a part of the text. That's Foucault's point. So yeah, those are the 2 places I'd critique Lindsay Ellis. And it's great to be making a video for you guys. And I hope you guys have a lovely day.